Alright, here we go. So we're back now. We've been letting the water aerate for over 24 hours. Alright, you're going to need basically some type of stirring stick. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start mixing in all these nutrients that you see right here. Okay? Alright, first thing we're going to work on is we're going to work on the molasses. We're going to have put tablespoons of molasses into the water. If you see down there, it's just regular molasses. You can get this basically from the grocery stores or anything nearby, even the convenience store, who knows. Okay, so what that is what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of molasses per gallon of water. All right, so I'm gonna do that right here. All right, 1 tablespoon per gallon of water. I usually add about 4 tablespoons. I usually go right under the mark, but molasses is something that you can add over time as the stages of the plants go on. But you're gonna need at least 4 tablespoons per 5-gallon bucket of water, okay? You're gonna pour that in there. All right, now that you got all your molasses in there, you're gonna go ahead and take your stirring stick and just kind of stir gently. Okay, kind of mix it around as best as you can. Alright, so now what we're going to do next then is we're going to start adding the liquid seaweed. Right here, the liquid seaweed. Okay, now this right here is a 32-ounce bottle. Alright, and the measurements for the liquid seaweed is about 4 tablespoons per gallon of water. Okay, if you have a 32-ounce bottle, this 1 capful will hold 4 tablespoons. We measured it already. We know exactly it holds 4 tablespoons exactly. Okay, 4 tablespoons per gallon of water. I'm actually going to use, that's actually 1 capful. I'm going to use 4 capfuls. That's 16 tablespoons per 5-gallon bucket. Okay. One. 2, 3, 4. Okay, now like I say, I always kind of do a little bit under the exact amount, because liquid seaweed, molasses, all that is amounts that you're going to increase as the plant stages progress along the way. Okay, so once again, you'll take your stir stick and you'll just kind of move some of that around. Okay, now some people may be wondering, why are we using molasses, why we're using seaweed. Well, if you didn't know, molasses comes from beating sugarcane, grapes, and sugar beets, and they beat it into sugar that's full of vitamins and minerals. Using molasses as a fertilizer provides plants with a quick source of energy, food, and encourages the growth of beneficial and healthy microorganisms. All right, and the liquid seaweed as well has many nutrients that can benefit any plant. Using the liquid seaweed and the molasses basically gives you like higher yields. It deals with the taste of the fruit. It actually makes it a lot more sweeter and less rotting. Like most of my fruit, it actually lasts a lot more longer, up to weeks and up to months in the refrigerator without even decomposing. So seaweed fertilizers increase both plant and soil health. So it messes with the soil with the nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium, and it also helps against pests and diseases. So that's the reason why you want to use the molasses and the seaweed. And the molasses actually helps feed a lot of the microorganisms that are in the compost tea. All right, let's move on. So next part, what we want to do next then, now that we got the liquids in there, we're going to start pouring in some of the solids. All right, you're going to need one of these paint strainers. It's just a net. All right, you can get them at hardware stores or paint stores, Home Depot. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to start placing some of these solids. We have the seabird guano, and actually I'll tell you about the seabird guano in a little bit. We won't use that today. The bat guano is right here. Okay, you have the worm castings right here. Okay, so the two we're going to add today are the big worm castings and the bat guano, and I'll tell you why. All right, so basically this process for this tea is pre-flower and pre-fruit. All right, this tea is for beginning plants that are just growing out of the soil and they don't have any fruits or any flowers that have come off the plant yet. That's why we're not going to use the seabird guano. You only use the seabird guano when you start getting flowers and you start getting fruit on your plants. Okay, but I got it out here so I can show you what it looks like. Now, what we're gonna do is, it says to add 1 cup of worm castings per gallon of water. So again, once again, I'm gonna add about 4 cups for my 5-gallon bucket. We're gonna hang the net kind of over the water a little bit because some of this is real dusty and it will tend to fall through the net. So if it falls through, it's okay. You just kind of want to have it over the water because whatever falls through, it's gonna benefit your tea anyways. Okay. All right, if you can see, the soot is falling through the net. Okay, that is okay. You will have some falling into the water. That's completely fine. That's why I say do it. And if you look at the net, it's completely full, but that's why I say do it over the water, because whatever falls through goes into your bucket anyways. All right, once you added the worm castings, you're going to want to add the bat guano as well. Okay, now bat guano is not as much. Okay, bat guano is 1 tablespoon per gallon of water, so I'm gonna use about 4 to 5 tablespoons for my 5-gallon bucket. And there it is. All right, now once you do that, you're gonna kind of want to shove it all into one corner of the bag like this. Okay, you can twist it a couple of times and you want to go ahead and submerge it into the water. It will sink over time as soon as all the water gets into all the small spaces. And then you don't want the net to completely fall in. This is like basically representing like a tea bag in water. So you want to go ahead and wrap the end around the bucket handle and let it sit. And there you go. Okay, now you're gonna let this right here, you're gonna let this brew for at least 24 hours. All right, now when you start, your plants start having flowers coming off of them and start having fruit, you're gonna want to start adding the same process, same steps. The only thing is, before you submerge the net into the water, you're gonna want to add the seabird guano. Okay, and just real quick, just so you know, the worm castings, they're basically digestive soils from the worms that are left behind. Okay, basically it's all manure. All the guanos, all the castings, all that's manure left behind by bats, birds, and worms. They're rich in iron, sulfur, calcium, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and are way more richer than the nutrients in regular compost and soils. All right. The bat guanos are highly effective fertilizers that are very high content of nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium as well. All this stuff right here promotes root growth, supports the flowering of all this stuff. The potassium helps the stems be stronger. I mean, you need to be able to hold the fruit. Your fruit's going to be a whole lot larger than what you would usually get in regular soil. This also, all these nutrients right here help cleanse the soil that you're planting in. It can help cleanse from pesticides, herbicides, and, you know, just like similar chemical fertilizers. Okay. But once again, this is the same steps you'll do on everything before you have flowers and fruit. And then when you do have flowers and fruit, you'll just add the seabird guano. And the seabird guano is also a high content of nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium with root development. Makes the plants grow faster and healthier. The liquid seaweed also helps with the taste of the fruit as well as it grows. With this compost tea, you won't have to worry about crop rotation. You won't have to worry about overpopulation of your plants. I mean, I planted 20 tomato plants about 12 inches apart from each other. Didn't have a problem in any of my yields, and of course the sizes were bigger than anything I bought in the grocery store. So that's just a tip for you right there. Also, just another helpful hint, if you want, you can also separate some of this water and put it into like a spray bottle. If you put it in a spray bottle, you can spray it over your plants. It helps a little bit with pests and maybe a little bit of animals you may have in the area. It's not a definite deterrent, but it kind of helps just a little bit. And not to mention, you're using it anyways. It's fully organic. It's not going to hurt to try. All right. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, comment, or please leave information that you may need. Okay. Y'all take care.